He's a tinker man, he's a tinker man, a servant of the worshippers he. He can take some parts out a little hard and make an invention you need. He's a tinker man,
Yep.
he's a tinker.
So I'd like to pick up the question and have a go at answering it. How did Tinker begin? Look, before I get into, it's a good question because there's two versions of it. But before I get into how Tinker began, there was a moment when the word Tinker first came out of my mouth. But Tinker has been an evolution, partly of the character and partly of me and using technology and editing video and coming up with content and ideas and concepts. The idea of Tinker began almost at the time that I met my wife. And as you do when you're new in relationships, everything is exciting. I think we can all relate to that. Everything's very exciting. It still is, I've got to say, it still is exciting, but not quite the way it was when it was new. And the way she tells the story, and I'm going to go with her version, because when you're married and you have discussions, the wife is always correct. From what I can remember and put together and what she's told me, I was Googling corsetry. Not for me. Maybe it was for me. And I came across a picture of a female wearing a brown corset and goggles, and I'd never seen that combination before. I clicked on it and discovered this thing called steampunk. At the time, I was actually doing other video work for other channels that I was running. And I came across this thing called steampunk. I came across this entire genre. And I introduced it to my wife. At least this is her version. It's got to be true. She's the wife. And it just blew me away. The whole thing just blew me away in that you could have alternate histories, you could have an alternate current, and then you could have a post-apocalyptic future. There was no set time zone for this. And what also really appealed to me was parents torturing children by dressing them up in brown and jetpacks, and it was a very family-friendly genre. My own children kind of got involved for a while as well when they were younger, just because I kept ramming it down their throats. And from that, I got onto chat groups, and we discovered that everything had to be brown. Everyone had to be a lord or a lady. Everybody had to have nobility. There were a lot of characteristics that defined steampunk. And some of them I went along with, and some I disagreed with. I had this fishing vest that I'd had for about 20 years and never worn, that I bought when I was at university and broke, and I was in a seconds shop, and I don't know why I ever kept it. I think I wore it maybe 2-3 times. And I put that on, and it was kind of like a waistcoat. And I do have waistcoats from when I worked in hospitality. And it started from that, and then one night we were talking over the phone. We were having a distance relationship at the time, we still do, and I'd just finished an engineering course. I'd also spent 7 years working as a high school science teacher, and my wife thought that I'd do something academic, I'd be a professor or something along those lines, something a bit more literary. And I just finished doing an engineering course, learning welding, learning how to turn things on a lathe, learning how to design things with metal, lots of nuts and bolts, that sort of thing. So I wanted something more hands-on, and I wanted to rebel against, I wanted to overplay the brown, but I wanted to underplay the nobility thing. And I figured there was more interest in having a character that wasn't a lord or a lady. And we're discussing this over the phone. She said, well, what are you going to call this character? And the word tinker just came out of my mouth.
He's a tinker man, a servant of the worshippers he. He can take some parts out a little hard and make an invention you need.